There you go. Welcome to the weekly men's mastermind. And I would love to start off first by welcoming you all here. Our speaker today is going to be Luis Jimenez. Uh, you're a martial arts champion, Luis. Is it mixed martial arts? What is it?
No, it's karate, sport
Oh,
karate.
karate. Okay, sport karate.
Yes.
Excellent. So we got a champion leading us today in our discussion. I also want to remind all of you that throughout the discussion, raise your hand if you have a comment, have a question, put it in the chat. I'll monitor the chat on my computer screen. So if you've got something that you want to add, just jump on in and let us know. And I am going to start. This will be our habitual start by reminding everybody in the room the purpose of us being here. The 17 Club Men's Mastermind purpose statement. We are building disciplined men of purpose who take responsibility, act with intention, and serve others. This is where we study the science of personal achievement and to support and encourage and hold each other accountable on their journey toward their personal or professional definite chief aim, goal, or mission. So, with that, I love starting the meetings with wins. Did anyone have a win that they would like to share with us this week? Something that happened in your personal life, something that happened in your business life, something that you are just so happy that it happened and you consider it to be a win. The floor is yours. Just raise your hand.
Come on, don't be shy. Paul.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, just pleased to say that we've got central heating working on a wee cottage that we bought there, so it's still pretty Baltic about here. It's only like 2 and 3 degrees, so there's heat. The radiators are warm today, so that's the first time in 2 years of heat. That's a one, and just like he's all, it's a wee request to keep my father in your prayers. There, he's been in the hospital since Friday night, so I'm just outside the hospital here. If you wonder where I'm at, so I just come out to be on the call with you guys, so that can
All
tell
right.
you how much I think of this as well as him. So
Thank you,
thanks, guys.
Paul. Thank you. Appreciate you, my friend. Go ahead, Phil.
We can
Phil,
hear you.
you're muted, my friend.
I just dropped some wisdom there too. I love to say, noticing micro wins all the time. I write them down in the journal, so this way we can be acknowledged and gain momentum. Some things were like, as a fan, watching games that we had to win, and for personally, my mindset too, being challenged and questioning myself and moving forward and really going with momentum this morning with discipline. So that's a win. And it carries out and it'll show to others, but it has to show to me first.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Brad.
Yeah, so I had a personal best on the bench press recently, which seems like a little win, but it was pretty significant because it really opened my eyes to. I've had a couple challenging days, if you will, mental health wise, and I just knew I needed to do something to prove to myself that I was stronger than what I was, and so. I've been working with my oldest son, and I'm like, hey, I need to get you in to spot me. I want you to see me get my personal best. Well, that was like month and a half ago, and it just never happened. So I saw a young guy at the gym this morning, huge dude, probably benches twice as much as I do. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to put my ego aside. I'm going to ask him for a spot. And he disappeared, and there was nobody around. But I made a decision, pull the clips and rack that weight. And I think so often we wait for others' approval or wait for help from others to make the next step. And it's a pretty significant, even though it's just a personal best bench press, I think we got to keep reminding ourselves that we are here to save ourselves, to a lot of degrees. So
Yeah.
it's my win.
Love that. Congratulations, Brad. Glad to see you finally made it to 100 pounds. Go ahead, Zach. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I've been doing some deep work, just mentally and emotionally, and come to recognize that I I intellectualize things often, and I feel like it is something that I do often to protect myself, and potentially even guard myself from like letting my emotions flow through me, and actually be present with my emotions. So within the last couple of weeks, I've been really focusing on being present and feeling my emotions, and not trying to understand it, just allowing it to exist. And it's been, yeah, well, I won't say it's been easy or difficult. It's been interesting. It's been challenging and different. And I see that as a pretty significant win for me recently.
I love that, Zach. Thanks for sharing. Yes, it's never difficult or easy. It's always interesting. I love that perspective, right? It's always interesting. So
Mm.
I don't see any other hands up, so I am going to bring to you
Yeah.
Luis Jimenez. Go ahead, my
Thank you,
friend.
sir. Thank you, sir. I need the mojo. Don't forget that. Zachary, you said something that is really, really important. You're ex-military, right? You're no? Okay,
No,
no.
sir.
Okay, no. Well, then even better, because in the martial arts world, which I have David here, I have Alex here, they're part of my, and some of you guys have trained in any kind of sport, aggressive sport, hockey, my Canadian fellows, my Northern fellows, hockey, football. It comes with a degree of violence. And we, men, we have to embrace that violent part. We have to. It is part of why we can protect our families, our friends, ourselves, just like you said, Zachary. So we have to deal with that. And that's a beautiful thing about martial arts, that you can become really, really aggressive. You can become really, really violent, but you can control it. And that's the part, right? Jordan Peterson says that. I'd rather to have someone trained working in the garden with the flowers, knowing how to fight, and if I need that person is going to be available to defend whatever, instead of a gardener trying to become a soldier or trying to become a warrior. So we all have that warrior instinct in us. It is a law of polarity. Just like we have amazing traits or treats as a man, as a human being, we're capable of the most despicable things if needed at one point. Because you guys that have been deployed, you've seen horrible things. We've seen it, we've heard about them. So we just need to embrace that part and control it. And that's some of the things that we're going to talk about today in today's lesson. So if may I, Mr. Frank, do I have the mojo now? Can I share my screen? Got it.
Hold on just a second. I think you got
Yes,
it.
sir. Yes, sir. So today we are going to talk about pleasing personality. It is one of our, we're starting this book. If you don't have it, I strongly suggest you to get it. It is The Science of Personal Achievement. The Science of Personal Achievement by Napoleon Hill. And he has 17 different principles. This is number 4. This is pleasing personality has anything to do with us dealing with the world and with ourselves, our inner world. So I made a presentation for you guys, so I won't get sidetracked. Absolutely, Michael. We need the yin and yang energy. That's the best way to put it. Let me see if I can. All right, perfect. Let me see if you can see my can you see it all right?
Yeah, it looks good.
Perfect. All right. So pleasing personality can be your greatest asset. And Napoleon says a pleasing personality harmonizes. One second, 'cause I can't see it right there. You go. A pleasing personality harmonizes your mental attitude to create success. But this is the key word, harmonizes. You need to be in harmony with it, balance between positive and negative. Because there's absolutely no way you and I can be happy all the time, can be on a high all the time. We cannot be on a positive mood all the time. However, we can control that. So I am going to be about talking about different things. I have my notes here because I don't want to get sidetracked. But like he was saying earlier, your personality is your greatest asset or liability. It can really open doors and build bridges, but also can build walls between you and other people. So what he's talking about in this book, in this chapter, he says, make these traits second nature in everything you do. So we can start adopting all these traits that he talks about. We're going to start getting absolutely successes in life. We're going to start getting wins. We're going to start stacking wins. And that's one of the most beautiful things about life. When you start stacking wins, your life starts moving forward extremely fast. Not just in money, not just in power, not just in fame, but inside. As your achievements and your purpose starts getting filled. So what is positive mental attitude? Positive mental attitude is to having the best attitude even when things are not going well. Expecting great things, expecting good results. And when things are not going your way, have the ability to see the good in the bad. Because here, most of us, if not every single person, we have had some kind of loss or something that we didn't want to, but it ended up being one of the best things that had ever happened to us. Do you agree with me? Do you agree that something bad happened to you in your life and it turned out to be one of the best things? Absolutely. So then he moves on to flexibility. What is flexibility? Consists in the habit of adapting quickly to changing circumstances. COVID, remember? Who here had to pivot their businesses or their livelihood in COVID? Right now, some of us are going through challenges, right? Some of our kids or family members are sick, and then we have to make decisions. This blizzard from this weekend, some of us had to take some different things, right? We have to be flexible. We have to. So leaders, strong people, they're flexible. They don't give in. They don't give up. They are just flexible. And I love this concept of we have a goal. We don't change the goal. When things go hard and we push forward and we have the determination, we don't change the goal. We might change the strategy. We can change strategy several times, over and over and over again. But the goal never changes. It absolutely never changes. So what's temperance? Remember, he's talking about these traits that we need to adopt as part of our pleasing personality. Is the moderation and self-restraint in all things. We were talking about it, Zach. When the negative thoughts come to your mind, because it is, again, it is part of this law of polarity. For a positive needs to be a negative. So there's absolutely no way that we're not going to have negative thoughts, feelings of defeat.
Luis, something happened?
I'm
We,
sorry.
we lost you for a minute.
My bad. I don't know
You're,
why.
you're good. You're good.
Okay, good. So yeah, temperance is that moment of not giving up to bad thoughts, not giving up to any kind of addictions. Our mind must be stronger than that. We all have had some kind of addictions: sex, porn, drugs, alcohol, all kind of things. They're available to us. But a disciplined man have that temperance to say, no, this is not what I want. This is not what is good for me. This is not good for my family. So we move on. Women, don't even go there. Just another women, right? All of us, most of us here are we're in an age where we are economically solvent. We can pay for things. And you know what women like? Men with money. Especially ladies that they're not committed, single ladies or opportunistic. And I'm not putting women down, but we all know people like that. And it's very easy to fall into that. Very, very easy. Which comes to the next, that brings me to the next point, which is patience. Patience is one of the most cherished traits that we need to have. Because I want to ask you, whom from all of you already made it? Who's on the other side? Who is living life exactly the way you want it? Your day is perfect. You have all the money, right? But was it like that 10 years ago, Frank? 20 years ago? Exactly. We have to
Absolutely
get
not.
there. We are in different stages of our lives. But one thing that I love about Earl Nightingale is that this concept of success. He says, when I decided what I want to do, and I start working towards it, I am a successful person. Is the progress and realization of a worthy ideal. That's what he calls it, right? So when I set a goal, when I find out what I want, and I start working towards it, it's just a matter of time. We just need to be patient, but also we have to be determined. We have to have persistence, which leads me to the next point. Leaders, successful people, make prompt decisions. Procrastination is one of the worst things we can ever accommodate in our lives. If we don't make prompt decisions, we're gonna start doubting ourselves all the time. Making prompt decisions doesn't mean that we're changing our mind all the time and making decision after decision, changing the same thing over and over. It means I make the decision that I'm gonna do this. I make the decision that I'm gonna wake up early, take that cold shower, get in the sauna, go to the gym, eat healthy, take care of my family, get a new job, get more clients, get this new house, whatever it is. But we make the decision at the moment. I love how Bob Proctor used to say, when people they never buy a house because they start thinking of the money and how they're gonna get the money and all that. And he says something so simple. He says, they don't need to worry about that until they make the decision of buying the house. Once you make the decision to buy the house, the car, then you can start focusing on how you're going to get it. But if you don't, you're going to be thinking about it. And I guess we all are guilty of that. How many times we've said, I'm going to do that when I have time, money, opportunity. But you and I know that opportunity is not here all the time. Now, communication. Communication is amazing because if you cannot communicate, you can have the most amazing service and product in the world. But if you cannot communicate it, there's absolutely no way you're going to get it. You cannot communicate good feelings through being narcissistic, through being selfish. So we have to learn how to communicate. And you might say, well, how is that anything to do with narcissism and selfishness? When you start communicating how you are inside, people can understand you better and you can understand better. Because once you communicate right, when you start articulating your communication, you learn how to listen to people. It becomes part of the deal, it becomes part of the whole system. So, I'm going to move on to the next one. Hill taught that a person with a winning personality knows how to voice emotion without losing control of it. How in the world we follow people just because the way they communicate, just the way how they tell things to us. And this is when I want to put one thing though, because one of the things that Napoleon Hill says is telling stories. How do, a lot of the good people in the world that can communicate, successful people, they tell stories in a great way. And my friend Frank asked me yesterday to give him a little option, a little chance to share a story. So here's your chance, Frank.
All right, thank you, Luis. Hey, look, pleasing personality. When I first started reading that decades ago, it's all about being nice to people, right? But in 2006, I had an experience that really changed my perspective about having a pleasing personality. I'm a retired real estate broker, and in 2006, 2007, 2008, the real estate market had crashed. I had two kids in college, two car payments, two mortgage payments. Certainly wasn't in a position then that I am today. And but I had to figure it out. So I went up to my broker at that time and I said, Rick, I said, I need to figure this out. I said, my wife and I in the first quarter of 2006, we had had one closing in real estate. We were both full-time real estate agents. We didn't have any other income except for my military retirement, which was peanuts. And I said, I got to do something. I'm going to need to go get a job. And he recommended that I get professional help. Now, I thought he meant I needed a psychiatrist. But at the end of the day, he was suggesting that I get a coach. So I did. And I invested $600 a month, or I should say, committed to investing $600 a month for this coach to tell me how to work my way through this transitioning real estate market. And, the first couple of meetings, this guy's telling me to, identify my clients. Who are my past clients? Call them up, check in, see how they're doing. I mean, I just sold them a house last year. They're not buying a new one this year. Why am I calling them? Oh, and by the way, take a minute and write a handwritten personal note. I said, really? Handwritten personal notes? Who does that anymore? Key point. And then he says, oh, and by the way, when you're out driving around, why don't you stop by and visit a few of your clients and see how they're doing? Just kind of drop in. He called it a pop by. So I'm having a conversation. I'm involved with this thing for like 2 months. I'm having a conversation with my dad, who was in sales for 45 years. And he said, let me get this straight, son. You're paying someone $600 a month to tell you to be nice to people, to have a pleasing personality. I said, yeah, I am. And here's the impact it had on my life. In 6 months, I earned $100,000 in net commissions by simply following those steps, while my colleagues were going bankrupt, losing their cars. 50% of the real estate agents in the industry during that 3 years left the business to get a job. And then the following 6 months, another $100,000 in net commissions. The market was considered the worst real estate market in history. By adopting a pleasing personality, calling my clients, checking in, being nice to people, writing personal notes, stop by and visit, and show concern and consideration for people, it changed my career. It also implanted in my mind the importance of all of us having a coach in some way, shape, or form, right? So I wanted to share that story because when I was reading the chapter to prepare for this meeting, I'm saying to myself, that's all I did. I adopted a pleasing personality and it changed my perspective and how I was going to perform in my job as a real estate agent. Right. So, Luis, thank you for that. I thought it would be powerful to share it with you guys because whatever it is you're doing, whatever you put out there comes back.
100%.
Pleasing personality is good stuff. In fact,
Yes.
I wrote a quote this morning saying, having a pleasing personality does not mean that you're weak.
Hmm.
It means that you're
Absolutely.
strong and you're there to
Absolutely.
support other people, which falls right in line with what we're doing here today. So back to you, Luis. Thank you for the opportunity.
No, thank you. Thank you. That was very interesting and very helpful because absolutely who here would not serve better if we start checking on our clients, on the people that we love more often, right? When it's genuine, when it comes from the heart, it's completely different. When you really care, it is completely different. And just like you said, Frank, when we put it out there, we really care about those people, personal, work, business, that people is going to start caring about us. It's just this law. It's how the universe works. Well, I'm going to keep going because I don't want to lose track of all this, but thank you. And So exactly, the art of dramatizing your speech, tell a story. We have a person right here in this group that teaches exactly how to do that with Michael. So, and then he talks about the habit of smiling. I was guilty of this. For many years, I would not smile. Maybe I will smile after winning something, maybe after a good thing that happened at the moment, but I was not constantly happy. It was a work, work, work. I gotta do this, I gotta do that. It's never enough. But just changing that, starting smiling, like many other good habits, is directly related to your person person's mental attitude. That's exactly what I was doing. I'm telling you. Then I read this amazing book from Napoleon Hill, and then I hear um, Earl Nightingale saying attitude. Attitude is the most important thing. We should work on an attitude all the time. And I started smiling at people at the everywhere, at the grocery store, everywhere I go while I'm driving, because some of us we get behind the wheel and we become freaking monkeys and monsters, right? I started just sharing the road, giving them, you want to go ahead. And things started changing. And then all of a sudden, I was getting parking spots closer to the door, people holding the door for me, and I started holding the door for others. But it's because I changed just that little tiny thing, which is smiling more often. And just like he says, the smile, the tone of voice, and the facial expressions open windows through which we can see and feel what takes place in people's minds. He says in the book that lawyers, great salesmen, can see and perceive the mindset of people just by looking at their face expressions. And it's so true. You and I, you are used to sell something, ideas, we can tell right away when we're selling it or not. So, and that's how it gets to the mind-body connection. He talks about tactfulness. We cannot be rude to people. We need to treat other people the way we want to be treated. Tolerance. Sometimes I was in a call yesterday with this guy from martial arts, and the first thing that he said, "You guys are a bunch of idiots because you close your schools in the middle of the winter." And I'm like, wait, how do you want me to start listening to you, to the advice that you're giving us right now in this call? If you start with an insult, if you don't even know who we are, what do we do? So why do you even start a conversation like that? So I was tolerant for 5 minutes, and then I closed the freaking call. He dropped good bombs, but he was not he had no tactfulness, zero. If he would have started with a sense of humor, with a cool question, it's like, "Hey, are you guys idiots for closing your school then today?" Stuff like that. We would have taken completely different. At least I would. But he was not like that. He was more like a butthole to me. So he lost my business yesterday because of that. But sense of humor, again, I'm telling you, now I'm started looking at things from a more positive way though. And this is very, very important for us guys. As men, we are judging not people all the time, but we're assessing, we're judging situations. So a keen sense of justice and honesty, that is key. We can make mistakes when we're judging or assessing something or some people or their abilities to do something. We can make an honest mistake. And that's the humility of heart, recognizing when we're not good. But you see how all these traits interact with each other? How all these, like this guy was so wise, putting all these things together. And remember, he says high achievers are versatile. So we are masters of one or two things, but we have to be capable to do different things. We speak with force. And when he says force, he's not talking about like the guy that I was telling you yesterday. It means when you say something, you mean it. You take control of the room. You take control of the conversation when you want something getting done. If your wife And we all, probably all of us have been there. We love our wives. We don't want to tell them no. We don't want to say no to some things. But sometimes we have to. Sometimes we have to put our foot down. And I know some of you guys are nodding inside without moving your head. I know some of you guys are doing that. Those hard conversations, right? With your kids, with your coworkers, with your staff. Are you having that force needed behind it? So there's no second guessing, not questioning your leadership, not questioning the goal that you're set for, not just for you, but for your company or for your people or your family. High achievers control their tempers. We don't let the bad things get the best out of us. We don't. We can't. We cannot afford that. And it's because we have fondness for others. We're compassionate. We put ourselves in somebody else's shoes. Because who here has been mistreated? Who here has been laughed at? Who here has been made fun of? So we know exactly how it is. I'm going to put it in a more even hard way for some of us. Who here has been poor at one time, right? So we know how it is. And I'm almost done. Hope and ambition. Hope and ambition. You know, when I was growing up, I always had this concept of ambition as as a negative word. I'm too ambitious. Why are you so ambitious? In my head, the way my family and teachers taught me to be ambitious is stepping on others, dragging people to the mud so you can win, to make your point, to get more money. And now I have the clear concept of ambition. I just want more. I need to grow. I can help others when I grow. But he also says appropriate dress. I started, I travel a lot. And when I started dressing a little bit better, upgrades started coming up to me in a heartbeat. I had a better attitude, of course, smiling. But it is true though, in the workplace, people treat you, the first impression makes a huge, huge impression. So if you're always on sandals, and I'm not telling you anything negative or judging you, but if we are always in sandals and shorts and tank tops, I don't think a millionaire is going to go and look for your services. I don't think so. So let's start dressing appropriately. Good showmanship. Be charismatic. Be amazing. And this is one of the most important things nowadays with these new kids. Have you ever give a kid a handshake lately? A 20-year-old kid, a 17-year-old, a 25-year-old? They cannot shake handshakes the right way anymore. We need more masculine power out there. We need to start working on that. And he says this at the end of the chapter. It is easy to assess and correct the physical aspects of your personality, but it is more challenging to correct character traits to improve your personality. And it is true though. You know why? Because the programming in our heads, in our subconscious mind, that's why it's harder. So this is the key takeaway for me. Take some time to inventory your personality. First as a whole, which is easier, then trade by trade. The time you devote to self-analysis will pay big dividends. So thank you guys. And I open up the microphone for comments, questions, or even you want to change the subject. Just kidding. We're going to stay on subject. Speaking with force. Thank you guys.
All right, the floor belongs. It's open. It's open for what I call free skate. Let's have a conversation. Right?
Mhm.
Who has something to add, a comment about what Luis shared with us today? A story. How about a story? Go ahead, Leroy.
Seahawks.
I don't know nothing about Seahawks. Um, yeah, that was great, Luis. That in speaking about communication and everything, so Frank had asked us who wants to lead this today, and I finally volunteered, and then yesterday we found out two of us had volunteered, but I had prepared something, and in that I uh, I have it's a pleasing personality is more than just, I mean, it is your smile, but it's your vibration, the attitude you're putting out. It's so and I like the way you said. I had the same experience when I was when I learned to smile at people. It, the world smiles back at you if you smile to it. And so yeah, this was such a great um, teaching, and I learned to use the world as a mirror. I learned to see it as it was mirroring back to me what I was putting out there. And that was the best teacher I had that I felt helped me the most. Instead of blaming the world for my problems, I saw it, oh, this is what I'm putting out. I need to start putting out something different. So,
Yeah.
great teaching. And thank you all for being here.
Leroy, I love that. Thank you for sharing. What if we're not happy with our current results, take a look at what your actions are. What are you putting in? What are you putting out there? Right? So, it's really easy to point fingers and to find blame somewhere else.
Absolutely.
It's real hard to recognize it. We have to look at ourselves, look in the mirror and address the results that you're not satisfied with by looking at your actions. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, so such good wisdom there, and thank you for sharing that, Luis and Leroy and Frank. And yeah, one of the great things is to not look at the results to determine where we can go or who we are. It's an inside game. We develop that. One of the things I love about this pleasing personality is I've part of my purpose is really kindness and compassion and creativity, listening to people and connecting with people. There's a fear of judgment that goes out there. And I used to be afraid to step into that because people criticize, oh, if someone's being nice, they're going to get something from you. And that's not true. It's just a matter of when people are nice, it's a way to leave people better. And a great thing we have is like there's a crisis in leadership. Leadership is not getting things from people. Leadership is how do people feel and how do you help them feel better about themselves, not to like you. While you do that, you become likable though, and using pleasing personality, the smile, leaving people better than they are when before you engage with them. I had an uncle who was a psychiatrist, world renowned. He helped reduce suicide by over 50% in San Francisco. And one of the things he came up with was treating people with respect and kindness in an era where psychiatrists they're used to get that prescription. So if we give them drugs, we're going to band-aid this thing, right? Um, and he was fighting colleagues. He was fighting the pharmacy reps. He was fighting all the different things against him. Yet his was a most powerful tool by being kind to others and respecting others. So kindness, pleasing personality work. Niceness works when we're not trying to get something, but when we're working on ourselves and the values that you talked about, Louis. Being who you are, leave others better, and they feel better about themselves. When we do that, we're living a wonderful life. So,
Yeah.
Well,
Love that.
leaders create more leaders, right? Not followers.
Yeah. Love that, Phil. Thanks for the share. Appreciate you. Nick, I see your hand up, buddy, and then I see Michael. Go ahead, Nick.
What's going on, fellas? My son's gonna get a little upset with me on this, but we're talking about pleasing personality. I was sharing with Michael yesterday on accident. I shared this with him that my that my one of my biggest flex is my kids, right? So just he wasn't in here, but David, if you will, can you tell the difference between a man with a positive mental attitude and a man with a negative mental attitude? And if you can tell the difference, give me an example of a man that has a positive mental attitude going in the bank. Give that example.
He walks with confidence and he goes there to get what he wants.
How about when he opens the door to the bank? Can you tell by the way he opens the door? Again, guys, I'm putting him on the spot.
All
But we
right.
talk about is you can tell a lot about a man's mental attitude by the way that he opens the door. And I also share with my kids that the world, men and women both, literally step out of your way to any individual, man or woman, that knows what they're going for. It's a burning obsession inside them.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share that, guys, and put my son on the spot.
Yeah.
All right, David.
An embarrassing embarrassing dad moment. Thanks, Nick. Your son will have a conversation with you later. But point taken.
Yes.
When you walk with confidence, you don't have to say a word. People just make way for the man who knows what it is that he wants, right?
Mhm.
So go ahead, Michael.
Morning, everybody. Morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
And yeah, go Hawks. What do you mean Patriots? Get out of here, Conway. That's enough.
That was Menard, not Conway.
Oh, is it both of you? Both of you. This is like it is full on West versus East Coast here going on.
It sure
Go
is.
Broncos.
Yeah.
Whoops. They already played.
So one of the things I love about this particular subject is that it's simple but not easy. And I don't know about anybody else, but some of the absolute best lessons that we're ever going to learn are simple but not easy. Right? Bradford was talking about, sets and reps, baby, like getting that, like hitting that bench press mark, which is amazing, buddy. Congratulations. But the fact is, it's not like it's hard, or it's not like it's complicated, right? It's not intricate. You didn't land a man on the moon, as it were. Like you're just lifting weight, but it is the simple and effective things that quite often move the needle, right? And I loved how Lewis was really mentioning that throughout, and that is one of the biggest parts about Please Personality in this book, right? These are not simple or these are not complex concepts to understand, but they take effort to put into place on a rhythmic basis. And one of the things I love about it, Frank, and Lewis was pointing this out, there's no shortcut to this.
Yeah.
Right? If you feel deep down like you've been treating people poorly and that is reflected in your results, then you have to honestly have that conversation with yourself. And then every single time you're about to treat people like a you-know-what hole, it's time to change how you act. And it's a simple process. It doesn't make it easy. And I just wanted to kind of mention on that. And then the final thing I wanted to say is that Lewis was talking about, the fact that you don't want to step on people if you're ambitious. And I think a lot of people have that concern, right? They don't want to be ambitious at the expense of somebody else. Does anybody else feel that way? Like if I get mine, I'm taking from Frank. If I get mine, I'm taking from Martin. And the truth of the matter, you guys, is that having run multiple businesses over the last 2 decades, none of this is built on my own. Not a single moment of it. Military guys, you know what I'm talking about. You do not win a war by yourself. You don't win a battle by yourself. You barely win the moment by yourself. It is always with someone else. And although in martial arts, you walk into the ring and you're on your own, you've got years of other people and their investment in you paying off. The sparring, the lessons, the practice, the art form, everything else. And so if you think about your ambition, you guys, because everybody in this room wants to get somewhere. None of you are satisfied with where you are. You're happy, but you're not satisfied, which is why you're here. There's a new destination to get to. There's a new you. The fact is, you're going to get there by being rise up. You're being supported by people. You're not stepping on them. They're lifting you. And that, my friend, is where pleasing personality for me really comes into effect. Your personality is what determines whether you're stepping on them or whether they're lifting you. So I wanted to just share that, Frank.
Yeah, Michael, I love that. The image that I try to keep in my mind when I'm pursuing something is I always have one hand behind me to help whoever's coming with me, right? Whatever we do, if we do it from an attitude of service, like I'm doing this to see how many people I can help, well, it has a whole different perspective. And when people see that, they want to support you. I mean, look what we have right here. We've got 13, 14, 15 men in a room every week just talking about simple foundational principles. As Michael pointed out, they're all very simple. It's just not easy to be consistent with our efforts, right? So go ahead, David. I see your hand up. We got two Davids up there. David, I'm going to call David W. Right now, it's going to be David. Go, David.
I can unmute. Hey, thanks, guys. I'm new to the group. Luis invited me in. I'm a longtime friend of his, and I'm glad I'm attending. So, had not had a chance to read the book beforehand. I'm very aware of the book, but pleasing personality was not something that I really probably followed into until maybe I'd say about 10 years ago. My wife turned me on to a quote, which I dropped into the chat, by Jay Danzy. It goes something similar to pleasing personality, which is your smile is your logo, your personality is your business card, and how you leave others feeling after having an experience with you becomes your trademark. And so every time I go into a meeting or go into a conference with people, I always try and keep that in mind, that, what I present to them and how I interact with them becomes who I become to them, regardless if it's my first interaction with them, especially if it's my first interaction with them. It's how they see me from that point forward. So I think it's very important how you put stuff in place with people, especially when you're trying to have an effect on their life or they have effects on your life.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Thank you. Welcome to the group, David. And thank you for your share. I appreciate you. Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, I think the term simple has came up a ton in this conversation, and it really I didn't expect to get out of it from Lewis, which thank you. You brought up the handshake thing, and it's so simple, but I lost my mom this year, and this was the last thing that she got to see. So the power of our touch, you can't compare it. You can't compare it. And so every day I see my kids off, we shake hands every single day because it's so important. And it's so simple, but so important. So that was kind of side marker. But in the homework or in the activity sheet, it asked which of these areas would you see as the most important, and I think, Frank, you've mentioned more than once, intention, honesty, and to me, as a whole, if we come with the intention of service, of serving others, like you mentioned, it's the biggest thing to me, being honest with it. Because if you were going out and shaking all those customers' hands in hopes of getting more money in the long run, I don't think you would have seen a return. But you went out there honestly with an intention to serve others and build connection and help, and you saw results.
Yeah. And, Brad, thank you for sharing that. And I just want to add, because as Luis was talking, I remember people coming to me during that period where I was following my coach's instructions and just being nice to people. that there were people on the sidelines that made comments like, well, you're only doing that so you can get more business. People only do business with you because, you keep doing that kind of stuff. I said, no, they do business with me because I'm a nice guy and they can trust me. And someone made a comment to me yesterday. I won't mention any names, but I was going through a conflict conversation with someone, and I finally just ended the conversation with my personal opinion. And the response I got back really made goosebumps on my arms. We know what your integrity is. We appreciate your opinion. So what Brad was just talking about, yeah, being intentional, absolutely. Having integrity at the highest level. I mean, I call all these things foundational principles. Again, Michael said simple but not easy, but they're foundational principles. And too often, excuse me, too often in our lives today, we don't see the younger generation learning these foundational principles. And that's part of the reason that I became a founding member of this group, was to give some action to correcting that. All right. So, so David Weigert, you're also new today. Welcome to the group. I see your hand up. What do you got to share, buddy? You're muted, my friend. Can't hear you.
You're mute.
No, he's not muted. I just can't hear him.
Oh.
How's this now?
That's better.
Yeah.
Don't depend on technology. Get rid of that stuff. Go for it.
So, thank you for letting me be here, and please thank you for inviting me. This is my normal time. I go to water aerobics and Tai Chi right now, so it's hard for me to be here. But the simplicity is really the key. And one of the things that's made my life simple is to feel the joy that I have to be around my brothers and sisters. We're all united already. There's no separation. It's all in our heads. There is no you without we, right? And when we feel our joy, other people will feel the energy of that. And that's what we want to, that's the kind of business we want to be able to do, is to be in joy, feeling healthy, strong, vitality, and then lifting each other up so we can have a world that our kids and our grandkids can deserve to be in. So thank you. Appreciate you all.
100%, David. Thank you for that share. And so thank you for explaining why you were on camera without a shirt on, because I was really, really concerned, right? But welcome to the group, my friend. Go ahead, Phil. I see your hand up, buddy.
Yeah, this is really gets so juicy, so great as the conversation flows too. And I really love the idea too that it's really simple as what we make of it. It's like a paradox. It's simple, not easy. And I know I have worked on overcoming living the life in complex simplicity because I can think too much. I get in my head rather than my heart. So making it simple and being clear, that is where the power within us is, and just whoever it is that we are. And I know too, when we're giving and treating other people better, Bob Proctor, who I used to study as a mentor with, would say we need to graciously give and generously receive. Receiving is the other part of the same of giving. So be open to receiving. We can have humility and still receive in a large amount, and then living in that abundance versus scarcity. I'm sorry.
Phil. Go ahead, Phil. I think David's having challenges with his technology.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say is that to be clear that it's as simple as we make it. Just keep it clear, give others, and don't allow our emotions to trap us. It's like James Allen in As a Man Thinketh would say, calmness of mind is the jewel of wisdom. So, yeah.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. Michael, the floor is yours.
Okay, I just wanted to jump on here real quick because I think Phil, you were there too, and I know Bradford was there because this conversation made him really uncomfortable on some level. Bradford, if you can unmute yourself, what was the term? And pleasing personality helps a great deal with this, but I was teaching something the other day, and I used a term that made Bradford kind of squirm a little bit. Do you remember Bradford? Then he sent it to me in Messenger a few days later, and he's like, "Oh, I was using it." Do you remember it?
Ethical manipulation.
Ethical manipulation. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And I could see in his chair, Bradford's like, oh, I mean, I know what I'm doing really helps people, but man, the word manipulation. And what I was teaching was that there's basically a backdoor to the brain, right? There's a back door into how to help somebody understand your idea and how to explain something. And one of the principles was ethical manipulation. But the entry point is a pleasing personality. If you don't have a pleasing personality, right, Bradford, they're never going to give you the chance to even open the back door to the brain and actually help them understand that there's a different way of seeing things than what they're currently seeing. But I just thought that relates directly to having a pleasing personality. Because if you don't have a pleasing personality, you will never earn the opportunity to actually shift someone's belief system and change things.
Yeah. Ethical, ethical manipulation.
Ethical manipulation.
When you
Yeah.
said those words, what came to my mind is people don't know until they know.
Yeah.
And oftentimes people will reject anything that we say simply because we approach it in the wrong way, right? We need to provide the benefit, or identify a problem that they're struggling with. And that kind of opens up the curiosity. And they give you permission to share what it is that we know. Because, see, we may know it, they just don't know it yet. And I find that so oftentimes in my study of the 17 keys to success, most people don't know that there are rules to the game in life.
Hmm.
They're not hard rules. I mean, as a young man, I bet you I walked around with a chip on my shoulder. And Napoleon actually tells a story, I think, in Think and Grow Rich about this. When he was young, not only did he have a chip on his shoulder, he would dare people to knock it off. Well, when you have
It's
that,
in this book. It's in this
it
book.
is in this book. Okay.
Hmm.
So when you talk about that, when you think about, are you walking around with a chip on your shoulder? Or are you doing what Phil just shared? Are you showing a personality that's open to receiving the kindness of other people? I'm remembering a story. There was a real estate agent who had been in the business for decades. I mean, literally decades. She was an elderly woman, and she would never say, you could walk by her and say hello, and she wouldn't respond. So it became my personal mission to every day I saw her to smile and say, I won't mention her name, hello, how are you? And it took about 8 months, 8 freaking months before she stopped, smiled, and said, I'm fine. How are you? Right? She had this wall built up. And guess what? Everyone in the office thought that she was the worst person in the world. She turned out to be one of the kindest ladies I ever met. But for some reason, there was a wall there. So do you have a wall up? Or are you sharing that smile, an open hand, a simple question? How can I help? And it doesn't have to be about sales. Many of us are in business, many of us are entrepreneurs. It's got nothing to do with making money. It's got to do with the reason that man has been put on this earth.
Yeah.
Earl Nightingale shared this with me. We've been put on this earth for one reason alone, to serve others.
Hmm. Yeah. Funny that you said, well, not funny, because we gotta use our words correctly, right? I a couple of years ago we had a blizzard again, like this weekend, and I took my kid to drive around to help people in the street. So we gave two people rides, and we get money to some homeless people, and we gave them a ride, and we took them to a shelter. So this year, yesterday, we didn't have school. So he said, "Hey, where are we going?" So what do you mean? When are we going to go and drive around and see if we can help people? So we did that yesterday. We didn't find one. We found one person. He was walking literally just outside for his house to get something. But I know I did the work already. I know those seeds were planted and in there he's already there. So it's again, see, I even forgot and I thought about it, but I forgot. And I was gonna do it without him. And then he reminded me. So that made me proud. And that was one of the things that I was gonna share as the wins in the beginning of the lesson. So yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
lesson shared, lesson learned, and you didn't even know we learned the lesson. Yeah,
Right?
that's a powerful message all by itself.
Mhm.
People are always watching. My dad used to say to me, people are always watching, whether you think they're watching or not. So just be the best you can be
Mhm.
to everyone around. And do it because that's who you want to be as a person, as a man,
Mhm.
not because of what other people will say, but people are always watching. Right.
Mhm.
So, okay, we're coming up on the hour, guys. I want to welcome the new guys here. If you would please, I don't know how you got the invite here. I think a couple of you came in for Luis. And if I have your email address, you will be reminded of all future meetings. I promise you, there's no attempt to sell anything here. We're not going to bombard you with emails. I'm building a community of men that serve men. And if you're interested in being part of that, share your email with me or with the person that invited you, and they will send it to me. Next week, we talk about going the extra mile. And
Love it.
I'm not sure which one of the coaches is going to do that next week, but I do want to share this because I had a conversation last week with Michael and with Bradford. Uh, just because Luis, myself, Phil, and Leroy are coaches with Napoleon Hill Institute, that doesn't mean we always have to run the show. If you have a skill or something that stands out in this book that we're studying, Science of Personal Achievement, and you would like to share or maybe take the lead and lead the group in a conversation, excellent. That's a great example of leadership. We'd love to have you do it. We don't have all the answers, so I don't want anybody to think we do. But if you are someone who wants to step up and share your opinions, your philosophy, jump on in, just send me an email, let me know in advance. Look at the context. We followed the agenda in the book exactly the way it's listed there. So go through there, look at those topics. As I said, Michael and Bradford have already identified things that they'd like to do. So we'll be seeing them in the near future. But next week, read the chapter, going the extra mile. And if you have not been using the journal aspect, those of you that are here, you should have received two books. I think there's a couple of people I need to send this out to, two digital versions. Yeah, this book is detailed about the principle. This book is shorter in content, but stronger in effort and work. This is where you put your work together. So somebody mentioned in a group, I can't remember who it was, but we got to do the work. Actually, I think it was Luis. You got to do the work. If
Yep.
you don't do the work, you're not going to get the result. And
That's
again,
simple.
remember, if you're not getting the results you want, look at the actions that you're taking.
You
Right?
gotta earn it, not learn it, Frank.
Yeah, I love
Right?
it. You're absolutely right, Michael. You know, how many times I can tell you right now, there were many times I read the book Think and Grow Rich, the original book by Napoleon Hill, and I never implemented that stuff. I just read the book until I decided to make this the philosophy that I would live the rest of my life by, and then started doing the work. It had a different impact, a major impact. Right. So I encourage you all to please do the work.
Yes. And
Last
don't,
comments. Anybody have a last word?
yeah, just don't read it, study it. Especially if you're gonna teach it, read it over. And they're short chapters. They're
Yeah.
6, 7, 10 pages.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Very
really,
short.
really cool.
And I think it was Tony Robbins that said one time somebody was responding to a message he'd put out there about reading. And this gentleman sent in a message, I've identified 36 books that I'm going to read this year. And Tony's response was unexpected. He said, I think that's wonderful that you're going to start reading again. He said, but what would happen if you read, instead of reading 36 books, you read one book 36 times,
Hmm.
right? And that's called study.
Yep.
And that's why we cycle through the 17 principles consistently, because there's always something more that we bring to the table the next time around. So with that,
Or-
guys, go ahead, Luis.
Real quick, or your awareness grows and you can understand things better, like it gets deeper inside of you.
Yeah,
So
love
that
that.
is
Thank you
part
for
of
that. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Gentlemen, have a wonderful week. Engage with each other through the week by email, text, however you're doing that. I see you guys doing that often. And have a wonderful week. I'll see you next Tuesday.
Invite more people.
Yes, invite more people. Everybody's welcome. Invite more men. Every man is welcome. I had a woman try to sneak in last week. I wouldn't let her. Come on in. We'll talk to you later, guys. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good luck,
you.
man.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.